show. I am Rob Breaux. I am the host. You are the co-host. Co-host today by commenting down below what you're overreacting to. It's Overreaction Monday. It's Overreaction Monday. We'll overreact to a lot of things. Today we'll react to the Bob Huggins news from the weekend. We'll react to Texas Tech recruiting. We'll overreact to some Texas Ranger stuff too. I will say I was much more prepared to overreact when that game was 5-6-0 yesterday, 6-0, I think, with the Blue Jays. I was very ready to overreact about how the Rangers season was over. Maybe not that far, but in a bit of a slide, losing series to both the Rays and the Angels. Then all of a sudden you're losing a series to the Blue Jays and you're like, not good. And then you pull the game out, you pull the series out. All is forgiven. The Texas Rangers do not need to face my wrath today. They win against the Blue Jays in a wonderful comeback last night. Good morning to you, Alex Root. I'm alive, I'm awake, I'm enthusiastic, and I'm ready to start the day. Texas Tech is the best college football program in Texas. That is the overreaction of the day. The Rob Breaux Show now in Technicolor. Yes. Dedicated to all the Texas fans this morning. They were in their feels last night on the message boards. Per message boards geniuses and Chuck. Chuck got that one going last night. I have an overreaction on Micah Hudson. And I don't know that it's exactly what everyone else is overreacting to. I know some people have caught on. But my overreaction to Micah Hudson is that he is the greatest troll of all time. And I don't mean that negatively. If you know me, if you know my internet history, if you know the Gambling Gauchos, we like to do a little trolling. We do a little trolling. It's called doing a little trolling. The guy is absolutely in his bag right now in the replies, replying to everyone. Last night, somebody said, a Texas fan said, the commitment when Micah Hudson commits to Texas is going to be nuclear. Micah Hudson. Exactly. This is after hours of hyping up that he's already committed to Texas Tech in some respects. I don't know if that's true or not because I can't get a read on Micah Hudson. It's beautiful. I mean, the guy is playing this about as well as you could play it. It's an incredible troll. Texas fan last night, if Micah Hudson commits to Texas, I'll actually tase my nutsack. Micah Hudson, honestly, I don't think you should tase because that could hurt really bad. In response to the message board's geniuses, where Texas fans are mad he's going to end up at Sand Aggie, Micah Hudson says, guys, this isn't very nice. I thought y'all loved me. Changed his profile picture back to a Texas uniform and then put love with a longhorn and a heart for the O, the University of Texas, as his cover photo on Twitter. I mean, the guy is an incredible troll. Yes, from Alex Root. It's beautiful. I've never seen anything like it from a recruit. I mean, this is high-level stuff. I want to say that I'll be happy when he commits to Texas Tech, and that'll be it. But it might just feel like a troll at this point. I don't know if I'll believe anything that Micah Hudson does until he signs his NLI, his National Letter of Intent. It's nothing against the kid. He's done an incredible job, but it's a little bit like the boy who cried wolf. I'll have no idea. He's trolled too much. And I've loved it so far. Even the trolls against Tech fans. It's beautiful. I respect it. From a troll to a fellow troll, it's beautiful to watch. It's masterful. And the fact that most college football fans don't pick up on it is even better. Because they don't follow the whole timeline. They only follow the one tweet they look at. They do zero research. You just got to do a little research. You just got to do a little research, man. It's beautiful. The rest of the recruiting for the weekend, by my count, I think there are 5 more silent commits, a few more named over the weekend. You're looking for 18 in the class, 18 or 19 in the class. I don't think you'll go over that. I think that's what Joey has said. You're right at that number. If there's 6 silent commits, you're at the number. I think you have 12 in the class right now. So you could be done after this weekend. Of course, if there are a few more that want to commit and they're high level, I'm sure you'll take them. But you're always leaving room by a space or two for a transfer or something else. It's a delicate balance. But after you took so many last year, you just don't have the scholarship space to take 25 again. So that's how that plays out. You're looking at about 18. Right now, you have 12 committed. You're 19th in the country. If Micah Hudson is indeed a silent commit, you'll be a top 15 class with a 5-star in there. The next overreaction. Your recruiting is, and again, I don't think this is an overreaction. I think it's just a fact. You're recruiting the best you've ever recruited at Texas Tech. And that's easy to say in the internet era because since 2000, there's no one else who's done this at Texas Tech. Since they started the Rivals 24/7 era, nobody is doing what Texas Tech is doing right now at Texas Tech since nobody. Tommy Tuberville was the most prolific recruiter, had the best classes, and he got to 20 once. After the Elite 11, Hammond might be a 4-star. Yes, Chase, I agree. Same with the Anderson Jr. kid. Yeah, he's 6'7", 240. Chase says, will this open the floodgates of recruits in the future for Tech? Someone shows you don't have to go to UT and A&M as a high-level recruit. If Texas Tech wins, yes. But I think Texas Tech has to win. You can't just recruit. Yeah, that 2011 class, I believe Jakeem Grant was in there too. Amaro, DeAndre Washington, Morales brothers. Yeah. A few of Tommy's guys didn't make it to campus. A lot of them did. And a lot of them performed. And 2013 was all of Tommy's guys, except for the quarterbacks. He didn't recruit a quarterback. Except 20 years later, he said he recruited Patrick Mahomes, or 10 years later. What a grifter. What an absolute grifter, Tommy Tuberville. You're a plague. All right. Yes, Chase, it will open the floodgates. And I've said this before. If you get 1 5-star, that turns into 10 5-stars. Not immediately, but you have to get your first one to kind of show guys it's okay. Now, you have to win. You have to win 8 games this year. 9 or 10 would be preferable. You have to show guys that they are coming into a good product. And you have to lock in your first 5-star, which I believe could be Micah Hudson. Now, if you get Hudson in, who's to say you don't get a couple of more next year, the year after, the year after, the year after. I think you've already found it easier to recruit 4-stars in this class because you did so last class. There for a while, you were getting 1 to 2 4-stars a class, and that's kind of a maybe if that. Now, I do also believe that the Blanchard bump, the Joey bump, is legit. And some of these high-end 3-stars are getting the benefit of the doubt now because they're coming to Texas Tech, because some of these recruiting services believe in what Joey McGuire is doing, that if they believe that a high 3-star is a 4-star, then recruiting services will do that. They'll make the bump. Now, that also has to do with after Texas Tech offers a guy, Ohio State and Notre Dame and everyone else is offering a guy. And it's generally UTSA, Texas Tech, then everyone else is offering. So shout out to UTSA, shout out to Texas Tech, the recruiting service for Texas. Not the University of Texas, but I'm sure that happens as well. Ross says it'll be interesting to see if high caliber quarterbacks can be maintained next year. Need to win this year, but Morton has to be that dude. Show sitting here will develop and improve a guy. If Morton is great in his first full year as a starter, then Strong and Hammond will much more likely to be sticking around. Now, will you get a 4-star quarterback in every class? That's interesting. You might look at it, and this is just me looking at recruiting in general. What if you go freshman, high school senior, star quarterback, 4-star, and then in the next class you go to transfer. And then you get a freshman, and then you get a transfer. And then you get a freshman, and then you get a transfer. That might be the way to go. Though if you're transferring in, it's because you want to start, but you could get a transfer that just wants to come in and compete. Ryan says Hammond might have higher expectations than Morton. Morton came in as the highest rated quarterback in a Texas Tech class ever. You could argue since Graham Harrell, Morton had a ton of expectations. Morton's just set for 3 years. Played in 4 games last year. I still think Morton has a ridiculous ceiling and a very high expectation. Hammond just came off the Elite 11. And with another year of football under Hammond's belt at a higher level than what Morton played, maybe he grows those expectations and gets to be a high-level 4-star and is a better rated prospect than Baron Morton by the time he gets to the end of his senior year. Maybe so. But I think you could argue Morton came in with higher expectations, especially because of the quarterback play, how it was. Quarterback recruiting is dumb. Georgia has the number 1 overall recruit in Raiola and another 4-star quarterback in the class. They've lost more quarterbacks than they've had. And they just went back-to-back national championships with a walk-on, a JUCO walk-on. So, yes, quarterback recruiting is absolutely stupid. But I don't know what the best plan is. Now, you got Strong in the last class, Jake Strong. In this class, you have Hammond. So it looks like they're going to prioritize a quarterback in every class, and that's got to probably be the right way, especially with the way quarterbacks transfer out nowadays if they're not going to be the guy. Of course, I'm not going to get into that conversation today if Morton, Strong, and Hammond are going into the spring, who's going to stay? So one of those guys is going to leave. I'm not going to get into that conversation today. Let's see how everyone does. Let's see if Hammond is even an early entrant. I'm sure he will be. But he can't be an early entrant today. Yeah, and Stetson Bennett didn't even graduate. That is amazing to me. That he was, well, I guess I kind of relate. But to be there as a college athlete with expectations to go to class is pretty crazy. Agreed, Chase. Once the offensive line is built, the quarterback is going to look better. Any quarterback, yeah. That was something that the Iowa State guys were saying last night on our Gambling Gauchos podcast, is that they haven't really had an offensive line, and that's true. They haven't. They had David Montgomery and Brees Hall, who ran through a bunch of tackles. Texas Tech the same, but they just had quarterbacks running around. I think the offensive line is going to be better this year. That's one of my overreactions. The offensive line is going to be twice as good. I think Cole Spencer is going to be a huge piece to that. Rusty Stats, and then Dennis Wilburn in the middle. That's your best interior offensive line in a long time. Your tackles. Monroe Mills flipping to left. We'll see. I thought Monroe Mills was good last year. I thought he was pretty good. Obviously, there were some issues at left tackle and interior at times, especially early. But I really did think the offensive line was pretty damn good down the stretch. And Caleb Rogers. I don't want to go through the whole thing without saying his name. He's the other starter. He'll be the right tackle. Rob, what are your thoughts on the College World Series so far? Did you watch Florida and Oral Roberts last night? I did not watch that game. I was recording a podcast. I watched the first couple of innings. I did watch most of the early game with TCU beating Virginia. I will watch most of the games today, I'm sure. I've got an appointment at 2 o'clock, but other than that, I'm free and easy. Down the road it goes. And we'll be enjoying that time today. Very excited for LSU Wake Forest. Very excited for LSU Wake Forest. Of course, Stanford and Tennessee will also be a great game. That is a great matchup. Stanford and Tennessee. And then you get Florida winning 2-0. They've only been beaten once in the postseason, and that was by a little school named Texas Tech. Very excited. Very excited. Alex Root is a little bit worried about the tackles. I am too, but, Caleb Rogers was pretty good as a right tackle, and they had to flip him to left last year. Now they flip him back. Monroe Mills gets an opportunity at left tackle. You don't have that just uber athletic lockdown left tackle right now on the roster. You might. Maybe he's one of these freshmen. Maybe he's getting on campus. Maybe he's being recruited right now. Maybe he'll be developed by Hamby. But you don't really have that uber athletic left tackle right now, which you would love to have, especially in this offense. ORU had the bases loaded in both the 8th and 9th and only scored one. Florida lucked out of it. Final was 5-4. I did see the final was 5-4. I saw they scored one run. I did not notice they had the bases loaded in the 8th as well. I knew they had the bases loaded there in the 9th. I scored one. That's tough. I'd have to see it to say that Florida lucked out, though. Sometimes you just make the plays. All right. What else are we overreacting to? Drop your overreactions in the comments section. Want to mention Bob Huggins real quick. I gave my thoughts on the actual offense last night of the Gambling Gauchos. You can watch the Gambling Gauchos on this YouTube channel or on the Republic of Football podcast feed. Just search Dave Campbell's Football when you're looking for your podcast, and then click on the Republic of Football feed. Scroll down a couple and you'll see the Gambling Gauchos episode. It should be the latest one published right now You can go listen to that over there. But I gave my thoughts on the actual offense last night. I just want to mention West Virginia quickly because Overreaction Monday, they are going to be bad this year. Everyone else will leave. It's a terrible situation for the West Virginia athletic director who's brand new. I mean, this guy has come in, dealt with now 2 scandals from Bob Huggins after the radio scandal and this one. And now you have to figure out, well, do we try to find a coach right now? Do we get an interim for a year? Do we just kind of have to eat this for a season? Can we hire somebody to keep this thing afloat for a minute while we hire the next guy? Can we go get some guy to keep this recruiting class together? Could we hire Frank Martin for a season? I mean, it's a bad situation for West Virginia. And this, coupled with the fact that they all want to fire their head coach in football, and the only reason they didn't is because they got a new AD and they knew they were preparing for a coaching change in basketball. Jeez. I don't think they'll hire him. West Virginia being bad this year is a pretty normal reaction at this point. Yeah, it's really not an overreaction, but I do hope Bob can get his life together because that is a really bad situation. But everyone knew this was his last year, right? I mean, it's not an overreaction to say that Bob Huggins was near the end of his career. He's 69, which I'm not an ageist, but is pretty old for coaching college basketball. And I'm not saying they were going to push him out, but he wanted to retire a year or two ago and then kind of got an extra spark to finish this year and decided to come back this year and actually recruited for the first time in a couple of years and got there and was really good. Mark Adams to West Virginia, I doubt it. Though that would be an interesting thing, certainly. Mark Adams is older than Bob Huggins. I think what you'll do is go find some young, hot assistant or somebody with ties to West Virginia to come back for a year. 69 is a young pup for a senator or president. Yes, I guess that's true. But Bob Huggins was certainly near the end of his rope. Mark Adams is already in Oxford, Mississippi. They've just kept it hush-hush, according to Ross. I have seen that as well. All right, that's all I had today. If you want to give some more overreactions, you can in the comments. You can continue to do so after we end this. Just make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and we will be on our way. Yes, Bob Huggins is an old 69. Not all 69s are created equal, by the way. That's going to get clipped. All right, we'll see y'all later. See you Wednesday for a live show. We'll be recording another Gambling Gauchos episode tomorrow night. We'll do our Big 12 preseason team and expectations for the standings. If you want to comment your Big 12 expectations below, you can. You can also comment who you think from Texas Tech will be on the all Big 12 team. Yes, we talked about Micah Hudson for the first 20 minutes. When is he committing? See, that's the interesting question. I don't think he'll commit this week. Here's what I'll say about Micah Hudson. Don't worry about Micah Hudson because you'll only make yourself frantic about it. If he comes, he comes. If not, you have two four-star wide receivers in the class right now. You obviously want him to come. You obviously want him to be here. If he doesn't take his official visit to Texas, he's committed. But it might not be announced until the end of July. And again, verbal commitments, especially with 5 stars, do not matter. A commitment means nothing. Now, with Joey McGuire and company, maybe that's a little different. But verbal commitments mean nothing in college football. If he takes the official visit to Texas, he's not committed to Texas Tech. If he doesn't take the official visit to Texas, he's committed to Texas Tech, but it might not be public for another month. I just don't know. It could be tomorrow. It could be Saturday. It could be a month from now. It could be in December when signing day happens. He might have found out he really likes trolling people. Maybe this is a new skill for him, and he wants to continue doing it for another couple months because he's having fun with it. And God forbid an 18-year-old kid have a little fun, huh? All right. That's it for me. I've been Rob Breaux. I'll be Rob Breaux. We'll see you next time.